It can never be overstated just how much escort missions suck. They're always either needlessly tedious or take agency away from the player. But dealing with friendlies among the baddies is too big of a theme for art to ignore, so it's gotta be possible to make allied NPCs fun somehow. One reason escort quests are so much of a pain is that they're often half-baked, underdeveloped, and just there for the sake of variety, but some games revolve around having buddies and sidekicks help you out. How can friendly NPCs balance vulnerability and self-sufficiency, and which games do the best job of threading that needle? You don't want to babysit someone when you already have yourself to worry about. Even in overall amazing games, characters like Eva, Emma Emmerich, and Ashley are all helpless liabilities that only function as another life bar to manage without the ability to control their mobility. That's the way escort missions work. It's frustrating to juggle extra responsibilities due to someone else's shortcomings, so it's much more fun to have buddies like D-Dog who can pretty much be forgotten about until you need them. Yes, the enemy will notice them if they cross paths, but even if your buddy is dressed up in ninja gear, the enemy will just dismiss them as a regular dog. They're not a liability. That's what makes them a good sidekick. A good example of some allies who manage to walk this line is Team Starfox. While yes, they often get into trouble and need the player's support, the entire game is built around eliminating baddies on a time limit, so it's not too different from what you'd normally be doing anyways. The only real problem is that their voice lines can get repetitive and annoying. You also don't want sidekicks to be too strong and for the game to play itself. Sidekicks should be an extension of a player character. They should listen to your inputs. You don't want the game to do something that the player doesn't want under the pretense of helping them out. Resident Evil is 10% zombie survival and 90% inventory management, so when Shiva starts wasting your ammo and healing items without permission, it feels like the game is griefing the player's hard work. It sucks, and destroys any single player potential the game ever had. Another example could be the dynamic duo segments from Arkham Knight. While yes, it's very satisfying to fight side by side with the cool supporting characters, the fact that they actually fight independently of your inputs can be annoying when you're going for a high score and knock over a dude you're setting up a special takedown on. It works a lot better when the characters tag out instead of just trading over the camera. A better buddy might actually just be the Batmobile who only listens to your inputs and never acts out on its own. For an example of an autopilot character that actually kinda ends up working somehow, there's Aggro from Shadow of the Colossus. He functions like an actual horse would, meaning you don't have to spell out exactly how you want him to run around. So when you're in the thick of it, you can actually focus on archery or kiting the Colossus. The reason this works is that it doesn't really matter where Aggro's going so long as he's going. Therefore, making the player control the horse wouldn't really add anything, so it's okay if he just manages himself. So what's the takeaway? Either too much or too little competence can be a death sentence in any virtual buddy. You want what they do to be valuable to the players, they come across as useful and likable, but you don't want them to get in the way or solve puzzles on their own. So what can they do? I think the simplest answer is that they should just be another mechanic to master, like the rest of the game. They shouldn't feel tacked on. If I had to give out a Best Sidekick award, it would have to go to Super Mario World's Yoshi. You never have to worry about what this guy's gonna do, he's a power-up, only as competent as the player using him. His only AI is to run away when you get hit, but since you don't actually take on damage when that happens, you can plan around it and jump right back on. He's really good. You can use him to iframe through difficult levels or sacrifice him for an air jump. Yoshi's value as a power-up endears the player to Yoshi as a character and as a sidekick. That's really simple, but it just about covers everything a buddy character needs to be in a video game. It's the simplest and best execution of the idea. Friends can be worse than foes if they're done wrong, but immediately stand out from the crowd when they're done right. There's a sweet spot to hit between helpless liabilities and self-sufficient paragons. Usually the most iconic examples walk the line. Escort missions will never get better, but maybe if devs can figure out the right balance, friendly AI can escape that association.